Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi dan selamat sejahtera to everyone. Thank you very much for spending some of your precious time today with us. With me today, we have Professor Madya, Dr. Rachel, in front of me here. We are at PPK office at the moment. So today's sharing is about immersive learning, which is actually a part of our roadshow for the upcoming AKIP 2023. AKIP stands for Anugerah Kecemerlangan dan Inovasi Pengajaran dan Pembelajaran. Okay, whereby we have 8 main categories, as you can see from the slide there. And one of the category is Anugerah Pengalaman Pembelajaran Immersive. So our topic for today specifically will be focusing on immersive learning, whereby I'm pretty sure that most of us lecturers are quite confused what is immersive learning is about. Maybe some of us memang sudah buat immersive learning ni di dalam kelas, tapi mungkin we don't realize that it's actually immersive learning. So we want to learn the tips and tricks on how to actually design our curriculum or course on giving the students an experience in terms of immersive learning. And today, again, we have Professor Madya Dr. Rachel Fran Mansa from Faculty of Engineering, FKJ. She is Professor Dr. Rachel. She is quite active, with the innovation in teaching and learning, and she was our participants in last year's AKIP, and she won one of the award as well on immersive learning. And therefore, we would like to take this opportunity to have Dr. Rachel to share with us her experience in designing her course, all right, which is the Ripolple approach, and how she gives the students a better experience in terms of immersive learning. So without further ado, I would like to invite Professor Madya Dr. Rachel Fran Mansa to give a sharing on immersive learning. Over to you, Dr. Rachel.
Thank you, Dr. Amir. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera kepada rakan-rakan Profesor. Oh, is it on? Can you hear me? Yeah. Oh, you turn it off. Okay, hold on ya. Yeah. Kepada rakan-rakan Profesor Madya, doktor-doktor sekalian. Okay. Hari ini kita akan have a bit of sharing tentang immersive learning. Apakah tu immersive learning? Immersive learning adalah, untuk personal definition saya lah kan, adalah apabila when we try to get our students to be actively learning the material by acting it out, by talking it out, by reading it out. So basically this is a very basic way of learning, like how children, babies learn. They immerse themselves in the environment. Like they want to taste food, they actually put their hands in there. They want to taste their surrounding, just immersing themselves in all your 5 derya, your eyes, your mouth, your nose, your ears, your hands. So this creates a full-on experience for the person. So you immerse yourself in that. The more the derya is stimulated, senses are stimulated, the more stories get built in their mind, stimulation, and this connection is what I deem as important in terms of learning. How often is it that you find yourself, you can remember stuff because your professor actually said a joke related to that story, because you laugh together with it, then you will remember the issue, the information that they help share. So it's something like that. So basically, this is just, I'm not an expert, but this is just an example of how we can actually implement role playing, which is another immersive learning tool method. Okay, so there's role playing, project oriented problem based learning, and then collaboration in a subject. This subject I have is called process equipment design course. Okay, it's a full-on activity course, and it's hard to test someone's ability to design things from an exam, correct? So what we did with, I'll show you guys what we did for this one, but I call it for short Ripolple because it stands for Real Industrial Project Oriented, and you have role playing learning experience as an immersive learning experience in process equipment design course. Basically, I've been doing this since 2019. Then when Dr. Kamaruddin came in, I roped him in to refine my objectives, help me out with the content and how I can, you know, because most of us do something, do an innovation, but we don't know where it's more related towards, right? So he was a very good guide to me to show me what I need to focus on to highlight, as in your teaching pedagogies, you know, your principles, teaching principles. So the rationale of this innovation is there was a reason why we did it. In the early years, when I first came back from my PhD, we found that, sorry, pada hilang. Pada hilang ni. Oh, you can see it, kan? Okay, we found that our final year plant design project, they have to build a whole plant, but they were always failing at their drawing and understanding how to do chemical process design because they have to go down to the fundamentals of the chemical engineering to do that. And then so we had a workshop in 2012. So when I came back, it was 2006, 2007, and then 2007, sorry, 2007, I started lecturing again, and then we found that out. I went for a course in KL organized by Akademik, and then they explained to us that we need to give more preparation for students in the early years when they have bigger projects at the end that culminates all what they learn in the 4 years. So in 2012, we had a workshop, and then this one is from a report in 2020, but this is like a small history of this process equipment design, okay? So the learning issue is that the students cannot cope with putting everything they learn into one project in the final year. And then the birth of the process equipment design course, I was tasked to look at it and then how to make it so that the students learn the skills they're missing in their final year. Some of the skills are actually lifelong learning, meaning that they need to look at certain core books, like the books for chemical engineering, like we call it the Bible of Chemical Engineering, Paris Chemical Engineering Handbook and CNOT Volume 6. So these kind of things you can't teach in one class, like lecture base. You have to get them to, okay, now go and look for this information. Now go and look for that information. Now, okay, what can you do with this information? So they have to sort of do a bit of investigation when they want to solve a problem, right? So this is what we have in Faculty of Engineering as UMS Active Learning in Engineering Education. Dr. Kama calls it UMS Alien, and this is the level at which where it's more instructor-centered or student-centered at the top. You can see here. Maybe I should use a pointer, right? Laser pointer, yeah. So student here, oh, it's a bit slow, yeah. And then where I focus mine is modification under collaborative learning, because in design project, in any job scope for chemical engineers, they always have to work with other people. So they're not like book-based. If they're 4-pointer, but they can't talk to anybody, they're no use as a chemical engineer. So we have to put them in groups. Okay, so these are a bit of definition for collaborative learning. Okay, what it does is that collaborative learning favors deep learning with a small team environment where the individual team members unselfishly strive to contribute their utmost towards achieving the best learning outcomes. Okay, this sounds great, but I give you the minus first. Difficulty in fair assessment, because some do more, some do less. Okay, how I overcome this, do more, do less, I actually meet them and talk to them and make them feel important, appreciated, and then it's like a reward for them that they are acknowledged, because everybody likes to be acknowledged for their worth. Okay, so I actually do sit with each group and talk to them and then tell them, if If they don't do any work, I'll reward them with ignoring them. So that's another way to get them, motivate them to do more. And then sometimes it says lack of structure and organization necessary to effectively teach and assess student learning in engineering. So this one takes a lot of scaffolding and preparation of what you will do next in terms of time. And then there are the free riding or the tendency of individuals to exert no or less effort. Okay, this one I can spot easily. What I used to do in the past, okay, is if I spot one person from this group and this person from another group, I'll combine them and sit them down in a group and tell them, now you have to work. Nobody is going to be letting you free ride on them because you guys are free riders together. So you need to learn to drive the car together, you know. So I've done that and it's been successful. I usually have to spot them on early in the first 2-3 weeks. So that's why I meet them a lot. And then the advantages of this collaborative learning is that it has development of communication and teamwork skills. They do learn to communicate, even the quiet ones. Okay, and some of them prefer to do work alone. You know, the first class students, they say they want to do work alone, but it usually never, I usually make them do more actively with the other members. You see how I make the lower CGPA students into the leaders so that they have to dig up another character or skills in them, because not all are first class students. Okay, but doesn't mean that the first class students will always be more successful in engineering than the lower class, CGPA students. So there's also here, of course, we always have increased student engagement and motivation, and opportunities to learn from each other is evident in the activity of collaborative learning. Okay, so here role playing is a big part of this immersive learning experience. Okay, it's a teaching method that involves simulating real world scenarios where students act out various roles and work together to solve complex engineering problems. Okay, the advantages of this is that there's an enhanced collaboration and communication skill, also same as collaborative learning, improves critical thinking and problem solving skills, because they egg each other on in the role playing, increase motivation and engagement. Did you ever reflect on yourself? If you were ever to be given a task as a student, you'll do it half-heartedly. But if you were given a task as a leader to a team in a company, you wouldn't do the same decisions you did as that student. So this is what I try to stimulate in the students, that they actually take responsibility about what they present to me as the client when I come as a client and then the consultation company. And I tell them, one advice from you can be worth 10K, say for instance, of losses or gain for me, or 1 million. So how would they phrase and give the information to the client? Okay, so that comes with preparation and ability to understand the problem and apply what they know. So it's a very, for me, it's a very good learning method, teaching and learning method. Okay, the disadvantages of this is that students need strong foundation in the subject matter before engaging in role playing. So basically, each team will have one very good CGPA students. So this person will have the foundation in the subject matter, but will be triggered to speak more, to contribute more by the teammates. So that's what I try to push the team to do. Okay, and then activities can be time consuming and resource intensive. It can be. It can sometimes they get lost in actually doing unnecessary things. That's why I have to meet them every week and actually monitor what they do. I'll show you, I have a logbook of what they've done and then what the progress is. So I try to spread my time in each group equally. Okay, students might think that they are just having fun and not realize the amount of learning. Actually, it's under disadvantage, but I think it's an advantage. You learn better when you're happy, correct? You learn better when you're having fun and you feel there's no, you don't have to drag yourself to learn something. You have a self-motivation to move forward in the learning experience. So this was how to go to the next page. Okay, so all right, the last one I explained before I showed my methods are project-based, problem-based learning, POPBL, which is this subject with it, what is mainly based on lah. Okay, POPBL is a problem-based learning where students learn by working on real-life problems rather than relying on lectures, notes, and memorization. So I do very minimal lectures, and they need minimal rote memorization because it's like open book. Every day there's a question for them to try and answer, and there's no like correct or wrong answer. I just guide them. They need to know the justification of their choices for the answer. So I'll tell them if it's validly argued in their position or not. Okay, so the advantages of this POPBL is that it really promotes critical thinking and problem solving skills, same as role playing, encourages student engagement and motivation, develop interdisciplinary skills, foster teamwork and collaboration. Okay, and then the disadvantage are it requires resource planning on my side as the facilitator. So in my lessons, I don't call myself lecturer. I call myself the facilitator. I treat my students like they are working engineers, and I'm like a coach on how they actually perform in their work. So there are certain roles I take. Sometimes a coach, sometimes a facilitator, sometimes a designer for the course. Sometimes I'm also the client when I ask them to present their work, or their boss, things like that. It changes roles for me. So maybe challenging for some students who are less confident and lack prior knowledge. This disadvantage is actually something I'm very concerned for most chemical engineering students. They became good at chemical engineering because they're very good at their subject, means they're 4.0 and they don't talk to people and they don't have confidence in talking in public. The activities within these 14 weeks will actually act on this. They get more confident on themselves and what they know as a subject expert, and then they can speak more. So that's what I'm trying to promote in the activity of the whole subject. And it can be difficult to assess. This is correct. Okay, but I'll show you guys how I assess later. They have later. Wait. Oh, if I use the pointer, I cannot press the buttons here. Right, this is what we won Akib, and we got third bronze. I didn't update this one. We got bronze in the Edu Innovation 2023, me and Dr. Kama. So this is what it stands for: Real Industrial Project Oriented Role Playing Learning Experience. Okay, it's an immersive learning experience for process equipment design. Okay. The objective of this is to train students via role-playing and collaborative learning to work in teams, to use what they already know or learn things they need in order to solve a real-world problem for chemical engineering process design. One of my challenges for this subject is to make sure there's sufficient variety from year to year for the problem. So I've been repeating the last 3 years, but this year I've made a new one. I found a new one from my old experiences, and then it looks okay. The CLO addressed in this presentation is the ability of the students to analyze a complex engineering problem using chemical principles in solving process equipment design. Okay, complex engineering problems are where they have to weigh things against safety or cost. Sometimes equipments that are safer for the environment are higher cost. If they go lower cost, it's more damaging to the environment. So that's a complex problem. Plus, it may have lower yield or higher yield. So there's not only two opposing problems, but more than 2, 3, or 4. So this is why it's a complex problem. Okay, so sorry, my laptop's lagging. Okay. The approach of this innovation, first we take a look at me, the subject matter expert, why I think I can be an expert in process equipment design. constructive alignment of what I have designed this course, Ripolple, action mapping for Ripolple, meaning what I will need to do for certain parts of the subject, and then MS Teams also. I've added here, but I didn't update this list, the part that I started using ITEL for it, because we have ITEL now. Yeah, ITEL and forms. Okay. Right. I've been lecturing since 2006. These are the subjects I've taught, and then I've actively coached students' activities since 2006. In 2010 to 2013, I coached UMS Chemical competitions, and then for IEM UMS coach UMS students for the IEM plant design competitions, winners for 2016, 17, 18, 19, 2020. So basically they get either, there was twice they got winners, number one, twice they got second place, and twice they got, I think once they got third, yeah. Worked in Petronas and Shell in short stints. So there was 1 year in Shell and 3 months in Petronas, and I was involved in Sabah branch since 2006. So I did a lot of talking and getting feedback with the companies to see what are our students missing. Okay, so these are most of the winners. This is the all girls group. This is the all boys group who won these two. So proud moment for our students. Yeah, this is another, can you see? I think it's second prize. This was during MCO. Just when we started MCO, they had that one. So this is the all girls, sorry. Hilang. Mana pala? Okay. This is the, oh, I lost it in mine. Okay. This is the all girls group. This is the mixed group. They call themselves DM because they cannot decide. In this group, I actually changed the leader because the actual leader couldn't was too afraid to lead people, to make people don't like them. Okay, so this is what the one CLO I present how they achieve in here. Analyze complex engineering problems using chemical process principles in solving an equipment design. So it's connected to PLO 3, complex problem solving, and then the taxonomy level is analyze. So in our methods, I use two, I named these two, role playing and collaborative learning. And the TNL activities are, there's a lot of face-to-face activities, discussions, and then they have to solve real industrial problems, and then complex solving. Okay, so the assessment methods are preliminary report, MS1 in an e-poster and in class presentation, 3-minute video, actually 3-minute, sorry, yeah, they had a class presentation, 3-minute videos, Kahoot, and final report, right? And then they have reports for, yeah, that one is for another one. Sorry, my laptop is lagging, right? Okay, here is the framework that I use. On our left side here, you can see that this is the TPAC. So technological knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and content knowledge. The technology knowledge that they have to have is MS Teams. Also ITEL in this one. Lucid Chat. Lucid Chat is a sort of online software program that they can use to draw their PNID, what we call process and instrumentation diagram, to control any systems, okay? And then Aspen HiSys is to design the process flow. AutoCAD is to actually produce an engineering drawing of their equipment. And then the pedagogical knowledge is role-playing and collaborative learning, and their content knowledge is outcome-based education and real-world industrial problem, right? In the initial part, onset stage, I actually take some time to get them into their group. So I will get all the top CGPA to be group 1, top second, lower, second class upper or lower will be second group, and then the final group will be the lower one, lower CGPA, but I name them as leader. So in any work areas, usually there's a manager who employs experts. So I already give them this scenario that they need to look for an expert for them to employ. So they bring them in, and then there's a case study I give to them, the problem. This year I gave them the problem for Sabah Gas. They have pipe sweating problem there, and then what can they do to solve this problem so that the pipe sweating is in long term will cause corrosion of pipes and then maintenance costs for them. So leakage of gases is also another problem. Okay, so basically they have to solve it. They brainstorm. Okay, and then execution off stage. So I get them to record their no, I gave them how many milestones they have for this one. They have 3 milestones, and then they have to report their meeting logs in ITEL, and then I'll show that later. They give each other team peer review, and then I also evaluate them, and then I give them team reflection. I'll show these things in later. Okay, closure stage. I get them to sit down and talk about things, and there's an exit survey of what they think of the course. So this is the action mapping of Ripolple. So pay attention to this one. Basically, the center is the CLO, the course learning outcome. And then this is the goal that I want to have. Sorry, I'm pointing with my finger. This is the goal I want to have. And then the actions that will reach the goals are practice good project management, attend and participate in face-to-face collaborative learning, complete assignments for milestone 2, complete assignments for milestone 1. Okay, so basically this is what they have to do, and then they have realistic practice activity like setting up of teams, which I already explained just now, assume roles in projects, project planning and distribution of tasks, propose Gantt chart for time management, log activities at meetings, practice good communication and team management. So it's not all in one go, but all given as part of the thing. So, all right, how much time I have left? Yeah, okay. So being present and collaborative learning to achieve the goal is very important. So here, if they miss class consistently, it affects their performance because most of the work are done in class, and I observe them and I give them feedback of what they've done. Okay, maybe I change this pointer to a pen because it doesn't seem to respond to my page. Okay, this is, don't worry, this is just my MS Teams. Last year, I used to use MS Teams. Now I have migrated to ITEL, but this is what I normally have. They have links, attendance, the class. I talk to them, and then it's an easy way to garner what they have completed during that work and what they need to do. So I will look through at the summary of what they have, and then usually the students have similar problems. They misunderstand certain things similarly. Very few of them have really different problem. Maybe some arguments in the groups. Yeah, I'll set that aside because it can happen. That one can happen definitely. And then the student involvement here. Okay, role playing. I explained through role-playing, face-to-face collaboration learning, role-playing discussion with facilitator, the meeting logs, accessing MS Teams, Kahoot, and the 3-minute videos. So I'll show this one. Okay, this is when they are breaking into groups. One of the first classes. They're in 3rd year now. When I teach them, they're in 2nd years. So this is them fighting for an expert. So yeah. And then this is how I've developed over the years. Okay, it's not in one go. So I've finally got lanyard, very cheap from DIY. Blue, she's wearing blue here because one of her team members had to go back home. to Sarawak, I think, all opposite Labuan. And then yellow is financial controllers in charge of money. So they have to discuss if it's worth it or not as well. White is the process engineer. So here you can see her here preparing to explain to me after the leader is currently explaining. And then the green one here is the green lanyard is the safety, health, and environmental. Okay, so I think the video will play. Okay, the video won't play. Can you guys hear it? So this is her explaining. So this one is when it's like first meeting with your client, and then what do you have? You introduce people. So it's a way to teach them how to be in a meeting in a professional environment as well. It's also mixed eventually with my comments for them, but this is the end of it. Yeah. Okay. Who's gonna be leader? They explain again. Tell them to rotate them the pass so that they learn to. I've speeded it them really. I think we just okay, to save time. So they change roles so that they always have they can assess things using that role that they're holding, and then they can see why a certain problem can be argued correct for different points. Okay, so this is another example. Okay, students role playing, presenting their findings in a process meeting with the facilitators acting as a client. Oh, hold on. Does it go? I think it's a picture or video. I forgot. I think this is a video, but it's not playing. A bit lag maybe. This one's there first. So this group of girls, first week they didn't come, second week they didn't come. So I reprimanded them, and then I alerted them they need to buckle up. And now this was in 11th week when I recorded this. They improve, you see, from students who don't care coming to class. You can see their enthusiasm. Nobody's free riding. They're all involved in discussion with me and explaining the problem with me. You see, I ask one person and the other person is actually thinking and trying to question the answer. This as well. So this is what I mean by immersive learning. They actually change your attitude from, okay, this is a class I need to attend, I need to score, I'm lazy, don't want to go to class, but they're coming. I have never missed a single class before. First two classes, kena marah. I told them they have to catch up. It's an activity class. They cannot afford to not come to class because I'll be guiding them. And during this session, they were one of the first to have everything ready. So there's a big change in attitude from me, what I think. This is one of the best things. So this is the process engineer per se, because he's wearing the white lanyard.
So initial versi kita 1.1.25 kPa. Okay, kita kena dapatkan operating pressure untuk dapatkan design pressure. So sebelum dapat operating tu kita kena tambah flow dengan hydrostatic.
When they began,
so
none of them would take out papers to write.
Kita kena dalam 1.1.
They don't know things down. And then I have to repeat, to discuss things. You don't scroll the computer or everything. You get things written out so that it's easier and more immersive for you to explain, more easier for you to explain. You can see all four have papers in front of them. That's my measure of if they are free riding. If they're free riding, they'll be like this. They're not going to hold any papers because they depend on other people to have the information. In this, everyone had a job, and then their collaboration is effective because they discuss certain things, some information for the next part is needed by the previous part, or so. So these things inform them. We will meet before the meeting. So this is the company called Nova. So they're the Nova Consulting
yesterday kita ambil lecture tentang Penceramah.
Nanti saya tanya.
See, you can see the other person will also discuss. They're also immersed in the learning and discussion. So, okay. So what I find in the face-to-face collaborative learning is that they have positive interdependence, an obligation to rely on one another to achieve one common goal. And I see that very clearly. You can see that from the videos as well. They have considerable interactions. Members help and encourage each other to learn, which is important because if the team leader wants to control everything, they cannot because it's a huge amount of work. So they share it and then they discuss, obviously quite frequently. Individual accountability, members are held accountable for doing their share of their work, social skills. Sometimes there are malu tu. Got one video I didn't show. When I asked her, why did you decide it like this? And then she's very shy. And then I said, it's okay. You are learning now. You take time, we'll meet again in the next class. Members are encouraged to develop, practice trust building, leadership, decision making, and communication, and group self-evaluating. So if you look at all these values, you can see this had developed in the team. Okay. All right. This is one example of the meeting log. This is for one of the teams that I showed you earlier. Okay, the group name, the dates, who attended, and then these are the problems. This is the main problem. Labuan gas terminal sends gas to Sabah gas terminal and the consumer, and then condensation occurs when pipes operate below ambient temperature and cold surface of the pipe. Thus, the anti-rust point deteriorating then causes corrosion of the pipe. Oh, I'm using the pointer again. Okay. Okay. Right. And then the solution, they have two solutions. This is in brainstorming. Remember the POP-BBL chart? Okay, once the groups are divided, they have a brainstorming. So these are the brainstorming, and I actually sit with each group and talk to them about why they selected that as a solution. Insulating the outer surface of the pipe in order to prevent this one, insulation of, okay, so they give the pros and cons of things. So that's the beginning, right? And then this is from them accessing MS Teams during face-to-face collaboration. Say, for instance, I'm discussing with them and then I want to look at everybody's in one go because sometimes time is limited to meet everybody. So when they submit online, I'll scroll to and identify certain points that each one has or their problems in each. So I can address most of their issues per class. Okay, I also hold Kahoot for them to understand, to give them also confidence in that they know some things. So they have a lot of fun in class. So this is Daniel and this is Angela. So basically, this is them when they present in the video. The purpose that I made when I tell them to do the 3-minute video, I tell them to do it as if they're applying for a job and they're showing evidence of what they know. So,
Hi, my name is Daniel, an engineering consultant from Akademik Consulting. We have been requested by our client from oil and gas department to solve their problem, which is to avoid the formation of methane crystal from natural gas due to temperature drop from.
This is last year's problem. So this year I changed it. This one is methane crystals formation. The current problem is pipe failure. This is Angela. Sorry.
Hi, my name is Angela Cheryl, consultant from Pusat, and today I will be explaining a problem asked by a company. Now let's look at your problem. Here, problem says that you wanted to prevent the formation of methane crystals inside the piping transporting natural.
So all this information that they've put here, I didn't teach. They went to get and put it together. So later on in their videos, it's very long videos, they show what they know, the AutoCAD, the simulation, what they've done, the drawing that they've done. So it's quite good exposure for them. So what I've seen as well, in terms of, we also want the impact in their learning, right? We look at the grades, the comparison of CO achievement compared to their according to what they think they perform, and then how much they actually achieve in terms of CO after I've assessed. And then there's also student reflection on their learning skills, student reflection on their change in attitude and improvement. I've put this year and last year's feedback here. Okay, so this one is the results. The 2022-2023, I'm currently teaching, so they don't have the results here. Initially, when I first started it, there's a lot of A minus. Okay, so maybe I was very lenient because I was impressed. They know how to do so. This is still has a sort of a small skew. And then the second year, I taught it. There's an increase in the A's. I suspected they learn from their seniors. Okay, in the third year, I told them I improved the rubrics of my assessment. You remember one of the problems for POPBL is difficulty in assessment, because when you see they achieve something, you're very impressed. Sometimes you become very lenient in the assessment. So to be most objective, I improved my assessment, and then the results tend to go more reasonable, because in design, an A means you're very good in design. When they go to final year and they still don't do a good design, that means I'm not presenting the right view, the right information. I'm just getting results that I feel good that they get A, but they're not actually performing well. So one of the things I want to collect as well to show how they perform here compared to how they perform in plant design later. But sometimes it doesn't translate. Okay, so it's wishful thinking, but hopefully I can find that out next. So next here, right, how to click on that using this. Wah, can ka? Escape. Oh, okay, can do this. Right, this one is student reflection. It's quite interesting how this one can be done. I know, forms in Google Forms. It does this. It's very nice. So I got 22 responses out of 38. And then, what was your perception of this course in MS1? So latest responses, it will be hard, but at the same time, I'm sure they're unsure about doing something they never done before. They feel like it's hard. Some hard because I do not understand the course. Okay. And then some, it was good fun. Okay, so these are the word cloud of the responses for the first question. What's the perception? Course, hard course. Course is hard. Course will be quiet. It's not quiet. A lot of calculation, yes. Perceptions, design, heat exchanger, yeah, heat exchanger. A lot of knowledge. They feel like they need to know a lot of knowledge. Course is very tough. Okay, then reflection on your learning and the activities you did. Okay, I learned how to calculate the designing heat exchanger, calculate the set design heat exchanger. By the way, this heat exchanger design is the solution to the problem, but they have a subject in that same year that teaches them heat exchanger design as well. And I do give them scaffolding. There are videos that I give so that they are guided on how to design this heat exchanger, right? So they learn heat exchanger calculation, manual calculation. So this is the word cloud. Most of it is heat exchanger. What do you hope this learning experience can do for you in the future? So hope it will be useful after graduate, can apply in real life, help improve my soft skills. So that's quite basically most of the things that I wanted them to learn. So here is the biggest is hope. They want to hope for future. So I think the best things we give our students are hope that they can do better in the future. Okay, so future problems they can solve. So that's one. Then the other feedback, this is for MS1. There's another feedback for MS2. Okay, hold on. I wanted by nilai ni banyak apa tu? Alright. MS2. Okay, this is the second milestone. Latest responses, it will be hard because they need to learn a new software, HISIS, process simulation. It was hard and will go insane understanding it. So that's what they said. Challenging, easy, particular apps, HISIS EDR. So this is what they found interesting lah. perception, the perception of this process simulation. So reflect on your learning and the activities you did for the basics of this process. So what did they do? Learn something new about this process simulation, gain knowledge about simulation, and choose the best design. I used HISIS and NDR and felt like a real industry engineer. So that's good. That's fairly good. That's what I wanted them to feel like, that they're actually in the field and then they're doing what they know, they apply. Because if we imagine we're learning something for 4 years and we don't ever see how it's applied, it gets a bit like depressing, you know. So in this subject in second year, they already get to apply what they learn, and then the realization, sometimes you can see, I can imagine the light at the head, at the top of the head suddenly turned on. Things are brighter for them. They are seeing things clearer. So what do you hope this learning experience can do for the future? So future job, okay, it will be useful after graduate, more application software skill to help the job and help ease my project in the future job. Okay, so next, okay, this is there. The blue is how they assess themselves to be. The green is how they actually perform from the subject assessment, okay, for CLO1. So the first year I was teaching, most thought they didn't do that well, so most actually performed very well, okay. And then so the same, so assessment here, it's I increased the stringency of the rubrics, but still they are performing better than what they think. So you can see it from here. Okay. This is some of the feedback of the students of the previous year. What was your capacity, attitude, and understanding before this course? How much did this course change you? What changes did you see in yourself and how it will be beneficial? Something similar to the question previously. So, I don't understand why I calculate something, because I used to memorize formula and know when to use. So basically they're given formulas and then given questions. So they never really apply things. They don't know when it is to use certain things. This course teach me a lot, understanding problems, what steps that important to solve problem. So because I break it down for them, they become more enabled to empowered to actually approach a problem, and the steps, how chemical engineers have certain steps to solve a problem. It involves drawing diagrams. So some of the students wouldn't even lift their pen to draw anything. They just sit down there, think. So as chemical engineers, future chemical engineers, they have to be trained in the basics of design. Okay, I learned how to work in a team, managing time, effectively communication. The next one is, some have no idea what the fundamentals are. Okay, and then almost all my attitude towards my studies changed. They didn't only change for this subject, they changed for other subjects. What this means is that they put value in the other subjects now that they see how it's being taught. I don't know how it will be futurely needed, how the knowledge will be needed in the future. I cannot deny, he says here, okay, what I mean is I learned to think deeply and justify my choices with relevant ideas. Also learn always to keep in mind that what I suffer right now is not comparative when I will be in the workplace soon, which is true. It's a playground for them to be safe and learn. I learned how to pick up myself again when I lost myself halfway. This is another thing. I cannot deny that many times I cried whenever I'm doing this. This is what the subject makes you do. Because if you're working, you actually put a lot of effort into it. So the role playing that they're holding a job that they're doing makes them really motivated to do it well. So I've been very happy with the performance, the reaction, how the students have taken it up upon themselves to actually do. I really appreciate the existence, the suffering. Now the subject, I can see through color my friends. They also learn to see, appreciate, or understand certain character. They might be friendly, but they don't do work. So how you gonna deal with friends like that? So it teaches them how to be at work. But I do teach them how to be diplomatic with each other, how to be kind, how to manage things when things are difficult. So there's another team working skills and interaction skills that I do teach them in here. Okay, masih ada masak ah? Banyak nih. I can show this later. Future planning. We'll go back it later because 1 hour kah? Give them give them more time to ask questions lah.
Yeah.
So the future planning, I always use PDCA. I will look at it again and then I will review from the results every year what I missed, what I need to put emphasis on. Okay, what I should continue. So basically, I presented in, sorry, I typo here. It's supposed to be in this year. Last year I won AKIP, and then this year I presented in a conference, and then it created a lot of reaction from the audience, because our audience, a lot of Koreans as well, international conference. And then I applied in the other subject, statistics, but statistics is a bit different from project. So because it's chapter by chapter, different by different, so it's different. And then I actually did present in Edu Innovation 2023. If you look for my name and Edu Innovation, you can see another video of me presenting the similar thing in a different way. All right. Okay. So the innovation that was born out of CQI, continuous quality improvement, to improve the final year project. Okay. It was effective in getting active learning involvement from the students, and I can see changes in the students because of this class. The 3 years that Ripolple was applied showed good and improving outcome, and reflection showed that the students take home covered, able to work together in a team to complete a real world complex problem, able to manage time better, able to be accountable for their work output, able to work under pressure, because you can see just now the students said they're crying, but they still perform. Okay, it's not like they cry, they stress, and then they disappear forever and then never come back. So that's what happens to most of our students when they experience plant design. Imagine final year, they get so overwhelmed with so much work and then suddenly they give up. So it helps reducing that effect. Able to communicate with teammates and facilitator, able to handle constructive criticism. So I also call industry to talk to the students. So that's it. I think this is the last page. Okay, thank you. That's it. Any questions? I can show some more of the feedback of the students, but any questions? Open the question. Mike. Sekejap, I take water.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rachel,
Thank you.
for a very interesting presentation of your project on Ripolple approach.
Yeah, Ripolple. So
To promote immersive learning among students. I think one of the most interesting point is the student feedback, whereby you get the students, previously they would just memorize and calculate, without learning anything from the course. But I think from your approach, at least you give them the opportunity to learn something, to go through the learning experience.
and they actually, because they act like a consultant and they're in a workplace. What if you are employed already with what you know now? So basically, they put themselves in a position that, oh, I want to learn more. They get motivated to have most information because they want to achieve the best themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of the things that I learned as well from your presentation is that to give the immersive learning experience to the students, we, the lecturer, also will have to go through the process as well. I mean, you don't ignore your students, right? Especially those who, the free riders. Do you think this thing can be done for bigger classes? Like,
Bigger classes, I use MS Teams. That helps a lot because once you tell them, you can actually zoom into certain groups who have bigger problems or common problems, because whenever they do, most students have similar problems. They, in the beginning, when I first started organizing these classes, remove share. Oh, pardon?
Okay, continue.
Saya tidak tahu. Question.
Look at the camera.
Oh, look at the camera. Oh,
Because we are online.
remove share.
You don't have to remove your sharing.
Oh, okay. So, no, but I'm putting remove share there. Sorry, something wrong. Sorry, I'm trying to get used to this. Anyway, yeah. Where was I, Dr. Amir?
Engage with the
So,
students.
so when we're engaging with the students, hold on, it's recording what captions I have. Oh, my captions. I'm reading captions. Sorry, I want to see chat as well. So, okay, saya kasih keluar dulu chat Let me see. So I can be more interactive. Right. The students, they're in companies kan, so they want to achieve more, they want to achieve better, and then they tend to put aside their laziness. I haven't seen a lazy student here because if they show they're not putting in effort, I do have a process of punishment for them or reward. But in terms of big classes, you know how this discussion takes a lot of time, a lot of attention. But when they put, when I use MS Teams, I'm trying to learn how to use ITEL, if anybody can teach me. For big forums, I tried that, but it wasn't very effective for ITEL. I think I might, for this part, when I'm in class and I request them to submit me what they've done, each group, I can actually see in one scroll down what they achieved. And then their problems, I tell them to highlight problems, and it's usually common problems. So I address it there. Like I'll call out which group has the problems, and then I'll talk to them. Okay, yeah, so you have this problem. Okay, what do you think? And then I'll call out names of the members and then discuss it, and then what they think about it. So everybody, this one is not typical lecture. Most of the time I find they actually put attention to listen. I'm not sure about the first year now. The first year a bit different, but the current second year is okay already. The third year was so good. I mean, third year now, who was second year. So it varies batch to batch because we notice, right? Different batch have different characters. Different batch have different learning skills or learning. Like the first year now, they like to write everything on the iPad. They like to write everything on the iPad. And then, but they know how to use it. They know how to use it, okay? The second year, some use, some don't. But I made them do most on paper because it's easier to scroll and show. To change papers and show. So for bigger groups, when I wanted to deal with bigger number of people, I usually identify one, and then I'll stand up, call out, who has this problem, come here. So they have the problem, they come, and then I'll talk to each one and then discuss. So I sort of have class management of grouping people with same problem. So it's easier because it's very rare they have different problems. That's what I found out. Does anybody have that experience as well? When they teach big groups and it's a project or anything they discuss, when they raise their issues, it's similar. Do you have that? Oh, they have the problem. Tunggu I'm reading the chat. Siapa ni phone mungkin. Excellent immersive learning method. Thank you, Kennedy.
I have a few more other questions to ask, but I think I will open the session for Q&A with the audience.
Yeah.
Maybe
You can turn on your
our
mic.
friends online have questions to ask.
Yeah.
So if anybody have questions to ask, you may turn on your microphone or you may drop your questions on the chat box. Any questions so far? We have about 133 participants joining us online. Yeah, thank you very much.
If you want me to share the screen again, boleh. You just say. Just
It's a sharing session.
I want to read the comments as well from the audience.
Ada soalan from the audience?
Just turn on your mic.
Yeah.
Sekarang sama student, tapi kawan-kawan tidak payah garang-garang. Santai-santai saja kita. How big is your student classes normally? Oh, there's another thought that I was thinking. You know this role playing is very, when I searched how to use it in my class, there was a lot of examples for English, teaching English as a second language. They do role playing. So what examples I saw is that sometimes somebody acts as a salesperson and the other person comes and asks, how much is this? And stuff like that. Discussion macam tu. Atau selling or getting a service. So a lot of examples for role playing in teaching English as a second language. So I know teaching English as a second language is a big class as well. So the other way that you can handle a lot of presentations. Say, for instance, you have 200 students. You can put them in a group of 2 to 4. Don't go more than 5, because then there's a chance that they'll have more freeloaders, free riding students, and then get them to either make TikTok videos or 1 minute video or reel or YouTube. Usually for engineering, I'll get them to do 3 minutes in a YouTube. Therefore, when I actually look at them and then give them feedback about the presentation, it's short, because sometimes the management of the presentation is what is long, because you need to say, okay, this one starts, finish, start, finish, start, finish. So to save time. So if there's 300 students, 200 students, 200, how big is the students class nowadays in PPIB? So if there's 4 students to a group, you got 50 videos to look at. So if it's 1 minute, you probably need about 1-2 hours to watch it. So it's still manageable. Yeah.
Another, maybe we have one question there. Yeah. Sorry lah, Dr. Patma. I think we have issues with the WebEx system whereby all the participants were being muted. We'll get the admin to solve the issues now. At the moment, if you guys have any questions, if you can't unmute yourself, maybe you can drop your questions down on the chat box. We will read out the questions for you.
Yeah.
Another question: how long did it take to form your classroom pedagogy?
Oh. You know, it's very hard to say. You know, as a young lecturer in 2006, panjang lah cerita, sikit-sikit. 2006, I was so gung-ho to teach all my students. I want to give them all the knowledge that I wanted. So if you imagine you bringing water to people, water is knowledge. I'll be bringing drums to them, sort of pouring them with so much information so that they learn. But you know what I realized after 1 year and 2 years doing that? They bring 1 teaspoon. They carry back 1 teaspoon. So I was thinking how to inspire, how to make them appreciate knowledge. Ketawa semua. How to make them want to know. So I looked at kids. I had small children, they don't have to be told to learn. They like to learn because they're curious. So the creation of that question in the head. So it was more like story-like, and then I try and reflect on how I like to learn most. I tell you guys a secret. I'm a bad class student. I sleep in class because I don't like how people teach me. Because they talk and talk and talk. I like to, if you ever see me in any talks, I'll be the one who always talks back, because I like to interact with my knowledge. I like to be able to be freely thinking about it, so that when it stimulates, I form more connections in my brain of the knowledge. Therefore, I can retain it more, and ability to apply is higher. So that's what I understand about myself. So I get the students who are quiet and who are weaker to actually empower themselves with knowledge by getting the simplest thing, what they know, they say, and then telling them that's correct. So what do you think next? What do you think next? So over the years, even from my other classes like maths, I used to teach 300 students, okay? pregnant with my second son. 300 students, oh, punya banyak energy saya dulu. But that's how I used to handle big students. I'll zoom in with the common problems and then discuss. Okay, so all these things, teaching maths is a lot of memorizing formulas. I applied certain aspects like, what do you think if you are here? How would you do that? So I already started a bit of this role playing in my classes. When I ask them to discuss with me and answer certain things, I tell them the knowledge you know now is not only for the A, it's to use when you are working and the situations are like this. Then I taught food process engineering one time. And then the food process engineering, I tell them, do you know why egg turns white? Things like that when you cook it. That's chemical engineering. That's how heat actually deforms the molecules within the protein to turn, and it reflects light differently. So one of my students commented to me, Doctor, after going to your class, I don't look at food the same way. So things like that. I've applied it over and over again over the past 2006. How many years is that, Dr. Amir? 17 years. Okay, 17 years. So I developed bit by bit. And then when Prof. Chu, who was head of program, told me, tasked me with designing the course for this PED, I already had that in mind. PED is a project. They need to be actively using the knowledge. The first time I taught it, the students took 3 weeks to actually brainstorm. You know why? They were looking for the exact answers on internet. They took 3 weeks. There's no answer. Nobody writes this real problem answers on the internet. I said, stop doing that. Now I tell you, you start with this. So basically the first year, the first I taught it, I didn't have so much structure. I learned to put the structure in. So you make mistakes along the way, and then you do again and do again and do again and improve as you go along. And then as you can see, it's still improving now, not perfect, but I've had put certain structures to it. I put certain, like Dr. Kama, he's the one who told me TPAC. You have technology, you have the content knowledge and pedagogical knowledge. What is it for you? So if you want to start looking at your subject in this kind of view, to win AKIP, go and identify the TPAC. What is your software, your support system, your whatever you're learning using, like HiSys, no, not HiSys, sorry, for TESOL, you're using ITEL or using YouTube or using TikTok. And then that's softwares. And then there's the pedagogical knowledge. What do you want to use to give them? Collaborative learning, or you want them to have which type of active learning is it? Is it active learning? Is it student-centered? Is it lecturer-centered? Because we can't totally remove certain parts of what I do is a lecturer-centered, but it's only in certain like 15 minutes burst. When they really need the information, I'll have a switch, okay, and then go back to them again. So it must be a balanced way to that. So basically, only when I met Dr. Kama that it became formulated as what you see now. Before I just do. I take a real industrial problem, okay? RI for Ripolple means real industrial problem. 2011, UMS sent me to train in, what's the training place in Negeri? Negeri. AKEP also, yeah, AKEP. So they taught us project-oriented problem-based learning, POPBL. I also learned POPBL in 2008 from UMS. So all these things I learn, I develop, I try and learn myself. I try and look at online material, what other people have, and then slowly I built the structure. I built the structure to follow. And then the problems is one of my biggest issue last time. But then I was thinking, I was in Petronas and Shell. I know some of the problems each one have. I can just develop from any of it now. Because I actually have a friend in heat exchange design consultation. I tried to get from her, but she said it's PNC. So cannot. I create my own, which is valid because all these process lines are in industry, and I know how to do it now. So the feedback collection, the information, I also learn when you do peer review, because I get the students to assess each other. When you do peer review, don't do it one time at the end of the course. Don't let them assess themselves. They'll always give A because they've forgotten the pains of going through. If you have 14 weeks and you have 3 projects, each project, get them to do a peer review. You will notice the first one, they give A. Second one, somewhat true. Third one, very real. They will be honest already, because if the person is a free rider, they've had enough, sort of there. So basically, the free rider will learn to correct themselves eventually as well. It's also good for the free rider because we want change in attitudes for the students.
I think we have another question. We have a few more minutes for Q&A.
Okay.
Another question from Dr. Maslina. Excellent teaching approach.
Yeah, thank you.
We have assigned students to different roles. Then how each role contributes to the course outcomes? How do you measure?
Okay, the roles is not measured. Their final output from the rubrics is measured. The role playing, I don't actually assess them for being a boss. Yeah, because sometimes it's holistic. If it's engineering, there's so many parts to it that you cannot micro analyze or assess each one. The bigger output is where they're gonna be assessed on, meaning they already need to know how to bring themselves in a discussion, correct? But all of them are acting as students. So when I tell them, you are the boss, you are a team lead, you are the process person, you are in charge of safety, and you are in charge of money. So basically, the money person will show me how they assess the equipment selection using costing. So because it's a group output, so they've already contributed. So basically, their group it's not individual. This is a group effort. Okay. To a certain extent, I have to give them individual marks because they cannot all have the same marks, okay? So there's certain parts of these that I actually ask them to do individual, which is the video. I think the video, 3-minute video is individual, okay? And then the peer review will actually differentiate their grades. Some groups are good, I know, then their grades are all the same because everybody gives each other good grades because they all perform. But some, you can see the differentiating points, factors. But remember, you cannot have them like one person gets 0 and the other person gets 1. So there's a value that you use a factor, I think it's 1.1, to make it closer to, at least they have a small variation, but it's closer to a value than stark difference, because some students may hate character attack from this direction, yeah, so they give 0. So we try and avoid that. Yeah. Anything
Thank you,
else?
Dr.
Yeah.
Rachel. I think we have more participants to ask questions, but at the moment, we have issues with the WebEx system whereby everybody's are being muted, right?
Yeah, just
and
also no video.
and our staff are rectifying the issue at the moment. So we are really sorry
Welcome.
for everyone who
Welcome.
wants to ask questions online. But what you can do is to drop down your question on the chat box, and then I'll read out the question for you. We have few more minutes for Q&A.
Dr. Yasmin, Dr. Mazlina, tanyalah, say hi. Any questions from you guys?
Ada satu lagi soalan. About your Ripolple approach ni, should it be done for social sciences punya field?
Okay.
Boleh bagi contoh tak?
Any social scientists here? Because I haven't seen their syllabus. If I can see the syllabus, and then I can see the application at work in what industry, then because it's role-playing real industry problem. So I need to know the industry that they're going to be applying themselves into, and then then the roles in the companies that are in industry for that social science. Say for instance, what's one of the social science subjects? Music?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, say music. The role playing of how to handle a band. Say for instance, band manager. Okay, so in also a recording studio, there's the technician, there's the people who take care of the room, studio. I'm guessing, I don't know the field, so I'm just guessing.
You mentioned one about this just now.
TESOL, yeah, teaching English. That one is if they're teaching English as a second language. What I've seen is for role playing, they have partners of two. So there's a buyer and a seller. They role play as I'm the buyer, you're the seller. So they speak English, and then they can record it, and then they can show it. Or yeah, so basically mainly macam itulah. Kalau English lah, kalau English.
One more thing. Oh, now I cannot mute myself.
You cannot mute yourself?
I'm muted. I cannot unmute.
Let me see if I can unmute you. Lock a participant. Make a presenter. Shall I make you presenter? You can speak.
No.
It'll mute me.
I think they can hear me because you are.
My mic is on. Yeah.
Mic. Okay. Another question. You see, now we are on face-to-face, kan? Soon we are going to go for the Anjal. You know, the flexible learning.
Yes.
You know, the new thing about our learning system.
Yeah.
So soon we're going for Anjal. And then whereby there will be 1 year for the students who will be studying home, you know.
Yeah.
Online. So how is this approach going to be delivered? You know, if now it's on face-to-face, then do you think there will be some kind of modifications on the Ripolple approach when everything is being made?
It actually hit me right on the spot because in 2020 we had MCO, correct? And that was I designed the course ages ago, and then I came back to it. So I designed it for face-to-face, but then we had MCO. Okay. So during MCO, actually it was very easy because I used MS Teams. We had MS Teams then, and then video recording was easy.
Yeah. And then we can see from the grades just now, during MCO,
they were better. Because I could see them improve, and then I could check each group.
Some kind of modification.
With rubrics, I was very strict. Yeah.
More strict maybe.
Yeah. The bell curve went to B more B because it's not because the students are less smarter. The students with the more B is actually one of the best groups of students I've ever met.
So are we expecting, you know, soon if we're going for Anjal,
they're gonna get A again? Depends on how. If I keep my assessment method to the recent one, it should be okay. It should be still you're gonna see similar. Because too many A's, because I was so impressed. Susah kan MCO. They still put attention, they still do work. So basically ini in Kadazan is Otokwod Ginavo, very kind-hearted lecturer. Nampak saja effort terus happy betul sama student. Itulah kali I don't know. So I was thinking kan, I was sad because I could give them A, but they were still not performing very well in their final year design project. So I wanted it to be more aligned, more reflective of the capacity. So I had to look at what am I not looking at correctly? What am I looking at too leniently? Okay, so that's why. For MCO, it was mainly videos on MS Teams discussion. I had breakout rooms, like they go to the groups, they discuss. I asked them to come back, post what they discussed, look through it. It was more organized actually. Actually, it was more organized. It was easier. The only problem was internet for different places. They had the problems.
Perhaps another one last question. Okay, we have one more from Dr. Padma. Group assign all the students from their own groups.
It's a very big part of my design, Dr. Padma. the groups are actually according to a system that I made. You know how managers are not normally the straight A students at the top, and each company will employ experts for Dr. Padma, you're in sports ka tu? Sports ka, Dr. Padma? I forgot. Social science. Anyway, say for instance, the expert in certain things in sports like track and field. You are the manager, you may not be the expert in track and field. And another expert in maybe health aftercare for sports people. So you as a manager, you look at who will be suitable for the post, bring them in. So basically, I broke the students into 3 groups. First, very high CGPA, second, middle ground, and then the managers to be are the lower ones, lower CGPA. They're not, I never believe that they're not smart enough to be in my class. I always believe they have challenges and life is up and down. If we give everybody opportunity to learn and be empowered, they're useful in any environment when they go to work. So basically, I told them, you guys lead. There was one student in 1 year said, "Doctor, I'm already weak. You asked me to lead again. I don't think so. I'm very shy some more." So I told her, don't worry, I'll guide you, because that's the purpose. I also have a video sharing of what's a good leader, what's a bad leader for them when they start off. So I prepare the leader. So in the first milestone, there's one leader. In the next milestone, the final milestone, I change the roles. So everybody has a chance. So basically, it's preparation for the future, you know. Everybody needs to learn to lead, to follow, to be a skilled person in your environment. So that's how it is lah, how the groups are formed. Interesting. Mau belajar lebih lanjut. Yes, Siti. You can ask me anytime. No problem.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rachel, for
Yeah.
your presentation. It was very interesting. But fortunately, we have no more time.
Yeah, limited time.
Almost 10:30. I think everybody also have a lot of meetings and other stuff. But anyway, it was a very
Yeah,
interesting session. Good session. Thank you very much for sharing with us, Dr. Rachel, once again. If you guys have any more questions to ask, maybe you can drop down your questions or email Dr. Rachel directly.
Yeah.
Or you may contact us at PPKA. So nanti kita akan share juga the recordings of the video and together with the PowerPoint slides. Maybe Dr. Rachel want to share with us the PowerPoint slide. Nanti kita akan share with the participants. Palinda boleh share the link tadi. Nanti our staff akan share the link to our database so that you guys can have the link and boleh download nanti all the slides and videos there. Okay, at the moment we are yet to have the slides and the videos. Nanti once we have all the materials, we'll upload and everybody can get their own copy.
By the way, do you guys want my phone number? I don't mind sharing. Just I'll post it here.
Phone number Dr. Rachel di chat sana.
Yeah, I'll send you guys my phone number. Just give me a beep. I'm very happy to help.
So to everyone, lecturers of UMS, once again kita extend kita punya invitation for everyone to join AKIP, Anugerah Kecemerlangan dan Inovasi Pengajaran dan Pembelajaran. Kita ada 8 kategori utama. One of the category is immersive learning. So hopefully from today's session, we all have much better idea what immersive learning is about. And perhaps mungkin last semester kita sudah buat, tapi kita tidak realize what actually this is actually immersive learning. If we have all of the, you know, necessary documents macam feedback from the students, compile everything, nanti isi tulis dalam borang. Submit to PPKA. Okay.
Actually, it doesn't take long as I already experienced putting it in because I designed AKIP. But as a participant, it's quite simple. You just fill up. I think I did things in 2 nights because sometimes you don't have time in the office kan. So I did things in 2 nights, and then with the guidance coaching from Dr. Kamaruddin, our TDA academic at Pembangunan Akademik FKJ, I I managed to complete it. Also, I like to help people as well. So if you guys need help, just message me. I'll be happy to
Actually,
help.
we have simplified the form,
Yes.
okay, to make things easier
Yeah.
for everybody to join. And somehow we have quite ample of time lah untuk apply. Tarikh tutup dia 4th of September. Now it's in June, and so probably about 2 months ahead. You know, to fill in the form and prepare your materials. We are here to help you. We are from PPK, kita boleh bantu.
Ada duit. Kamu apply lah, ada duit tu,
And-
sayang.
So ada PPK juga kan?
Yes, masuk LPT.
Dalam bahagian inovasi tu. So this is your golden opportunity.
Earn some money, earn some
We
money.
have something on innovation added on the CV and on your. Okay, so kalau nak pergi national level mungkin a bit challenging. So
Yeah.
kita try to do UC level, see how it goes.
Yeah.
UC level kita boleh bantu lah mana kalau you guys can
Alright.
the next round of
Yeah.
roadshow.
Yeah.
Thank you very much again, once again, Dr.
Thank
Teacher,
you.
and
Thank
to
you very
everyone
much
who joined
asking
us
me.
today. But before we leave, could we get everybody
To turn on.
the
Boleh sudah on camera,
Camera.
everyone?
for a quick photo session? Kalau boleh on camera, boleh tak orang on camera?
Boleh on camera?
You guys on the camera?
Not able to on camera. Tadi tiada camera. Tadi when I was a participant, there was no camera function available.
Oh my goodness.
So sorry,
I
everyone.
don't know what happened with Webex this morning. You know, everything is being locked.
Lock,
Yeah.
mute everything.
Mute everything. Not sure why.
If you make everybody panelists, they can be seen. You have to make everybody panelists. Is that possible? The manage. Tunggu kamu can't open.
Camera function you can't open.
Um,
But okay, never mind. As long as you guys don't forget to isi the attendance link form, okay, so that we have the records.
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we screenshot that there's 106 on 6
And then we can
participants.
get to the IDP points.
Yeah.
Okay. On behalf of the office, kita minta maaf lah. We really apologize for
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
issues. And
Dr. Kamama, dia bilang tidak bayar fee kan dia bilang. Free consultation from Dr. Kama. If you win, then you pay him.
aduh. Saya dapat on the
Yeah.
camera. Never mind lah.
Not video.
Next webinar lah kita
Make
kita-
sure
kita
ada.
sama-sama.
Yeah. Try.
Okay, thank you very much everyone who's joining us online. Thank you once again for your time.